and welcome everyone. We'll just take a moment to let people sign in and get all set up with their Zoom. You're here, of course, for the Arabic lesson brought to you by the Abraham Fund Initiatives. We'll wait 2 more minutes before we get started. You can set up your cameras in the meantime, make sure your sound is working well. I'll try to keep talking so you can test your sound and make sure that it's all on. In the meantime, I think I'll also share a little bit more about what's coming up at the Other Israel Film Festival. I'll introduce myself. My name is Isaac Zablocki. I'm the director of the Other Israel Film Festival, coming to you from the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan. And we're excited about this very special Arabic lesson here. We did it last year, and it was a wonderful success. And could hopefully turn this into a tradition every year. And I love it that this is going to be connected to some of our films this year. We have 3 days left of the festival, and you could watch things virtually. Everything left in the festival is available virtually. So you can watch things for the next 3 days. All of our conversations are recorded and then put on our YouTube channel. And coming up tonight, we have the film at 6 p.m. Cinema Sabaya. That will be live at the JCC. And then a sneak preview of the film With No Land at 8:15 p.m. Tomorrow night, we have the fourth window. Sorry, With No Land is about, I should note, With No Land is about a unique perspective on the Ethiopian aliyah to Israel, the Ethiopian immigration. Cinema Sabaya is about women filmmakers, Arab and Jewish, who get together for a film course. It's a fictional feature film. And a wonderful story of really seeing how these societies mix and don't mix. Then tomorrow we have a sneak preview of The Fourth Window by Yair Kedar, which is about Amos Oz. And finally at 8:30 tomorrow night, we have And I Was There by Iran Paz, about his experience as a soldier and the videos that he took when having to engage with an Arab family. Our closing night is Thursday night, the film 200 Meters. Please join us. Please help us spread the word. Please be a part of the conversations and all these wonderful events. And now I'd love to, of course, we have wonderful partners at this festival, and one of our primary partners, and really one of the partners that's working in the same areas that are to the core of the Other Israel Film Festival's mission, is the Abraham Fund Initiatives, and they've been there since before day one. And we're excited to partner with them on this Arabic lesson, which is, I think, a great addition to the festival. So I'm going to hand things over to Jimmy Tabor, who is the executive director of the Abraham Initiatives, and he'll introduce the class and take it from here.
Thanks, Isaac. So my name is Jimmy Tabor. I'm the North American director of the Abraham Initiatives. And for those of you that don't know, the Abraham Initiatives were an Israeli organization that works to build a shared and equal society in Israel. And one of the pieces of our work that fits very nicely with the film festival is spearheaded by my partner here, Mai Ara, who's our director of language initiatives. We believe that language is one of the core pieces of building an equal and shared society, and that we can use spoken Arabic as a way to provide an entry point into Arab Palestinian society and culture in Israel. And in addition to that, we have a recent project that we started in the high schools in Israel, both in the Jewish high schools and in the Arab high schools, that uses film as a way to start to open up a door to the other side's culture. So Mai's been intimately involved in this and other things that we do around language. So I'm excited for us to have an opportunity to do just a little taste of what we do in Israel, and introduce you all to a little bit of a deeper look at Arab society in Israel. So Maya, I'll pass it off to you.
لا جيمي كمل انت احسن. ليش انا بفكر انه لازم نفحص اذا في حدا بيحكي عربي هون او لا. I'm just checking. Anyone who speaks Arabic? في حدا بيحكي عربي؟ I'm not a little bit, I'm not my students. I can see you, I recognize you. واحد. I can see you, you're hunting me. من هون لهون. Okay, yes, I've been teaching Arabic for about 20 years, I think, 20 سنة, since I start teaching at the age of 20, and the last 2 years I teach Americans that I meet everywhere for some reason, again and again, كمان مرة وكمان مرة. كيفي مرحبا, Elisa مرحبا. Who else here? I'm not sure. I can see your photos. Your microphone is muted, which is fine, but if you have a camera, open it, I feel much better. أحسن. And I will ask the question, مين بيحكي عربي? مين بيحكي عربي? And if it's شوي, you can say شوي, exactly, and not only by شوي, you can say شوي, which is a little bit. شوي. Yes. Okay, so Roxana also. بحكي عربي, I speak Arabic. I will use here and there a few words. It's not the whole hour, it's not a lesson. I'm not going to teach you from the beginning. So, and I don't know if you tried before, but you will learn a few new things. And we will talk about the movies. So, بحكي عربي شوي. No Arabs I can see from the names. فيش عرب هون. فيش ولا عربي. تمام, fine. I can say whatever I want to say. And I feel very comfortable. Yes, it's what I think. شو أنا بفكر. اسمي مي عرو. اسمي مي عرو. My name is مي عرو. I wrote it in Arabic and in English here. مي means water. So you might need water, you might need me. So you should know how to say, I want water. It's very basic and very important information. So بدي, I want, بدي, مي. بدي مي. Okay? بدي مي. And I told you before that if you speak Arabic, you should say بحكي عربي. بحكي عربي. I'm going to use today only the spoken language. Okay, not the classical Arabic of Al-Quran, and we will not speak high. We will use the, the normal day-by-day language. Okay, يوم يوميت. So أنا بحكي عربي or بحكي عربي. I speak Arabic. And بدي مي, I want water. Now I'm going to ask you again, and not about the Arabic, but have you seen the movies? Did you watch the movie? شفتوا الفيلم? So I watched the movie and I شفت الفيلم. I can see not all of you right now. Not everyone watched the movie. So it's very interesting. Why are you here? ليش انتوا هون? ليش انتوا هون? And you can write on the chat, please. Tell me, what do you want to get? You have an hour with me. We will talk about the movies. We'll talk a little bit about Arabic and about living here and what's going on in Tel Aviv. And what do I think when I watch such kind of movies? Okay, but is there anything else that I'm missing or it's important for you that I know from the beginning? اكتبوا, right, اكتبوا لي. Why are you here? ليش انتوا هون? ليش is why, you into, هون here. لما a tempo. To hear spoken Arabic, very good reason. Okay, ممتاز. You will, here and there, شوي شوي. What about the others? Okay. بدي بحكي عربي. Want to speak Arabic? بدي أحكي عربي. Well, it's very easy for me to teach Arabic. That's what I know how to do. أنا بعرف 100%. I was born to teach Arabic. Yes. To communicate, okay. Arabic, the language. Okay, you understood. Oh, amazing. I'm reading your comments. You can also read the comments. a lot of you came for the language. Very well. I'm relieved, by the way. Okay. Just a second, I'm going to read the last one. Very good. ممتاز. طيب. I can see you all now, it's better. طيب اسمعوا شوفوا. شوفوا is look. شوفوا. I said before اكتبوا, write, and I'm talking to all of you, not to one. I'm not saying اكتب or شوف. I'm saying شوفوا, اكتبوا, like the Hebrew, رؤوا, كتبوا. Exactly the same last letter. Wow. We'll talk about Arabic شوي, and we will talk about the movies. One of the things when I watched this two, the movie and the series, I was a little bit angry. Why? I wonder, لما بيحكوا مع بعض, when they talk to each other, ليش بيحكوا كتير عبراني? A lot of Hebrew between each other. And I thought it's غريب, it's a little bit weird, because when we talk to each other, we use Arabic. Here and there, we miss a word or we need a word the way you use any other language. It's fine. But when I needed to look and to check the translation, which is in English, for me, it was a little bit, annoying. I should understand they are Arabs just like me, and I need a translation here. Now, I'm going to say something about myself at the beginning. I am an Arabic teacher. I'm a translator. I'm a writer. I used to be a teacher for Arabic and Hebrew. I do a lot of things around language. So what am I doing here? Why I care about the film festival? Because I love movies. And I spend my life before the corona traveling and going to film festivals around the world. It's very complicated, but I did it. I went to Berlin twice, to London, to Venezia, and even to Cannes, which is the funny part. I couldn't watch any movie there. They didn't let me. But other places, I could buy the tickets in advance, and I went there. Now, one thing about my English, it sounds good. It's not that good, okay? I'm just good in talking. Okay, I know how to do a show, but my English is not as good as you think it is, which is fine. I've been teaching you for 2 years now. I know you managed to understand me. I managed to understand 90% of your question, which is great. So if you hear any unrelated answer to any of your questions, I probably didn't understand it. So you need to move on. Next. Okay? I recommend you ask simple questions. So about languages, we live here, we're 20%. We consider ourselves, not all of us, we have a problem with identity. A lot of parents never talk about being Palestinian and prefer to use the word Arab in order to have a less complicated life here in Israel. But then you find out that you're Palestinian this way or another. And then you don't know what to say. I'm Arab, I'm Palestinian, I'm Israeli. You choose each one in the right place. It depends on the situation. It's complicated, yes, but we don't know any other way. I can't explain it to strangers. If I'm abroad and they ask me, where are you from? It's a bad question. I mean, it's not only that you need now to decide what to say, but also they will immediately ask questions about the Arab-Jewish relationships, the situation, how do you feel? And it's difficult to explain it in English. It is difficult to explain it in Arabic, by the way, not only in English. We speak Arabic at home, spoken language, and we learn from the first year we go to school, we learn the classical Arabic. Right after, immediately after, we start learning Hebrew, and then English, okay? So where is the problem? Where is المشكلة? In Arabic, you have 2 levels of the same language, but it sounds like 2 different languages. The only way to explain it to English speakers is Shakespearean English and and English. Okay, you see the difference? So yes, you go to theater, you can understand, and you may not understand every word. This is how we feel about the classical Arabic as Arabs. So it is difficult. We go to school, we learn it. And being able to understand doesn't mean you can open your mouth and speak like Shakespeare, okay? Even you read that and you go and you're very, yet when you speak, use normal English. And this is the way with Hebrew and Tanakh. Like when you say ani, if you speak Hebrew, or anuchi, both ani, both means I am, but no one would say anuchi. Okay, this is the difference. So I use the spoken language, I teach the spoken language, I'm going to use it here today. And I want to talk about being, when you travel abroad to watch a movie, and the movie, probably usually I go and watch European movies from Europe, and then the translation into English, and it's very difficult, and I understand 80%. The only reason that I understand 80% is because French and European movies, they don't speak a lot. They speak very slowly. And it helps me to understand, to be able to read the translation. No matter what I do, I can never understand more than 80%. And I always wait for the movie to come here so I can watch it again with translation. Arabic or Hebrew, it's the same for me. I speak Arabic and Hebrew very well, and I'm a translator, okay? So I don't have a problem. But I rather actually watch it in Arabic, because when they translate in Arabic, there are a few things that our culture will never accept. So the translator, it's very important. I learned my second degree in translation, and the translator need to decide what to write. Any bad word. They don't write bad words, for example. In Hebrew and in English, you can see the man is very angry and he said a very bad word. In Arabic, it's not bad. It's a nice word. He's angry. You will understand he's angry. You want to know why. Okay, it's one thing. And there are other things, of course. So I was watching both two movies, and I needed the English subtitles, and I didn't like it. And I thought to myself, okay, let's check who wrote and who is responsible, the director, the scenarist. And when I saw the name of Maysalun Hamoud at the movie, she's the director of Nafas. Nafas means to take a breath, okay? Ana batnafas. Batnafas means I'm breathing. Khud nafas. Take a breath, okay, breathe. Kach nishima. You need it to live, and you also need it if you want to smoke something. Khud nafas. Again, my culture, we don't like using bad words. We will not call drugs in their names, so we will just talk around it. Khud nafas, breathe. They understand each other, but who will understand if you don't know what they're talking about, you will not understand. The same thing about even going to the toilet, or talking about relationships or sex or anything that consider embarrassing. One very nice thing I also saw is that when the very bad man was very angry, and he was telling him that you don't have a chance, or I'm going to kill you, or something like that. And he wanted to suggest something to save himself, and he called him uncle. Uncle. The translation was not uncle, but this is the way you speak to an old man. You call him ammi, even if he is a stranger. It doesn't happen in Hebrew. It doesn't happen in English. You say ammi. And the man answered and said, Ya ibni, my son. And I saw the translation in English. It was something else, which is fine, because if we would write If I was a translator and I would write son and uncle, you will not understand. Very good, exactly. So can you imagine the situation, how dangerous it is? They are not related, and yet he called him Ammi, and he answered, Ibni, Am, uncle, Ibn, son. My students know, but I will explain again and again for all of the new students, the difference between Am and Khal. We don't move a lot. We move because we go for university, maybe if we work far away, usually we come back. I can say actually maybe 90% from anyone who leaves the village, leaves the family, always come back. And you probably, as Jews who really love families, just like us, would really want to know how, why, what we do in order to bring everyone back. We build them houses, we offer babysitting, we offer food, they come back. That's the secret. Because we still have lands, most of us, and we, even when we don't have lands to give our children, they will build one up to the other, high buildings, they will still come back. We don't have babysitting services. Fish, في أمي, أبوي, أختي, عمتي, family, عائلة. Okay, we still don't, we don't send our kids to strangers. You have the whole family around you. Food, it's very, very cultural. We all know how to cook. كلنا بنعرف نطبخ طبيخ. We all know how to cook, okay, comparing to other cultures. Even if you are very busy, كتير مشغولة, the Arab woman will wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, will cook, and then she will go to work. And if she can't, there is reasons, that, not reasons, but solutions actually. Women who don't work cook and sell the food. We don't go and buy something, sushi. We don't buy sushi. We buy maklube. We buy real food that other women made in their houses, and just like mom's food. So everything is there and everything is the same. And it's very difficult to make any changes. It takes a long time in our culture to make changes, because they keep coming back. And being independent is very difficult. You don't know how to be independent. You're never far away from your family, okay? So this is why it's an introduction for Am and Khal. Wait, we give the men the land, and we tell the woman that if you marry someone, it's his responsibility to build a house. So women do move and live in different places because they go after جوزها, her husband, جوز. أيوة. يعني, there is a very nice phrase when a woman says, أنا من جات, أصلي من جات, I am from Jat, originally I'm from Jat, and then she said, جوزت, I married to Haifa. She's married to someone who lives in Haifa, so now she lives in Haifa. Okay, جوزت في حيفا, جوزت في New York. And they come back, even from New York, they come back. You can't imagine how strong it is when someone offers you everything. Just come back, and we will be involved in your life. You will never be able to be independent or to have any decision without sharing it with the whole family. Kibbutz thing. Kibbutz, a little bit, yes. It's very close to the kibbutz. So, okay. So my neighbors actually are my uncles, not my mother's family, but my father's family, which is Am, uncle, which is daddy's brother, is Ammi, Am. We have another word, which is Khal, mother, my mom, brothers. Now notice there are two different, the age, usually 5 or even more years between the woman and the man. you know, until he built the house. You need to finish university and get a job and start building a house. So yes, he need to be older. So about 5 years or even more, it's very acceptable. And I always watch movies, and it's very funny when an American man would say to his daughter, he is 2 years older than you. Huh? In our case, 10 years is older than her is fine. It's the normal thing, okay? And the same thing here between Jews and Arabs. The differences between Gilaim, between ages. It's very normal that we have 5 till 10 years. Oh, I have someone suggested me to go out with him, and he was 15 years older. And I look at him and I said, are you serious? Anjad? It's a beautiful word. Bemet, Anjad. And I said, Anjad. And he said, Shul mushkila? What's the problem? Shul mushkila? And I said to him, you're 15 years older. And he said, you're divorced. It happened. You're divorced, you're supposed to compromise. You are second-hand. Yachnia. Okay, we don't like experienced women. It happened. I'm sorry. I know it's shocking a little bit, but you want to talk about culture. This is my culture. So this is Am and Khal, okay? So now let's talk a little bit about the movie and the film. The first one, Nafas. خد نفس, take a breath. Nafas, breathe. أيوة, تنفس. She's talking about drugs all the time. You cannot nafas in this movie. It's all about sex, alcohol, and drugs, which is far away from our culture. But then I remember it's Tel Aviv. هذا في تل أبيب. And when I checked, I actually knew it's her. Maysalun Hamoud. I saw the first movie, which is In Between. It's a different movie, 2016, and it was her famous movie. It was a good movie, by the way. And notice the name. In Hebrew, it's Lo Po, Lo Sham. Not here, not there. In Arabic, it's Bar Bahar, which is sea or land. In Hebrew, it's a game, Yami Vasha. Okay, 3 different names. It was a good movie, and now she did another movie. Again, she's doing movies about very specific people. She talks, or she introduces the Arab, the Palestinian Israeli who lives here, who go to the university specific in Tel Aviv, and they try to fit, and they find out they will never fit, but they keep trying. And their only way to fit is by being drunk and high. There is no way to understand this complicated situation, especially when she brings 3 who doesn't look like Arabs, but they choose to introduce themselves as Palestinian. And I looked here and there, what make them Palestinian? Only because they came from 3 places. They came from Taibeh, a Muslim village, Nazareth, you know Nazareth, and Mghar, probably Druzian, I'm not sure. So only by coming from there, they speak a lot of Arabic with كثير, a lot of Ibrani. I could hardly understand, أفهم. I don't think that our students speak like this, but who knows, maybe this specific people that Maysalun Hamoud knows very well. By the way, Maysalun, the director, she was born abroad. Her father is from here, probably her mother too. He went to study medicine. He took his family and she was born there. Then they came here. She was very young and they decided to live, I think, Beersheba, and they didn't want her to lose her identity, so they sent her to a Bedouin school where she can hear Arabic. So it was very complicated for her. And then they went back to, I think, Alabun. So Maysalun now is in a relationship with a Jewish man. I know a few directors I know three directors, 3 Arab directors in a relationship with Jewish guys. They never talk about it. It's very difficult for them. It's very complicated. And this is the people who choose to work and to be directors or actresses or, you know, things that we are not very familiar with when we live in a culture or in a society that is very, very religious. Look at me. I live in a very religious society. My students know that. I will not elaborate now, but we may look modern. We might even be modern, but we never came from modern families. The whole society is like living in بني برك. انت ساكن في بني برك بس انت بتشتغل في تل أبيب. You work in Tel Aviv. It isn't easy to explain, and this movie is not easy to watch. The series, not the movie. I was a little bit disappointed. I liked more the movie, but then I saw Nafas. I saw the other movie, which is Paradise, and I knew immediately it's not an Arab director. I checked. He's not an Arab director. هو يهودي مش عربي. When we go to Sinai, to Egypt, we run away from you. We run away from Hebrew. There is no way he will go to the car with Jewish boys and girls. We actually really want to hear Arabic, to go somewhere where we can hear Arabic. We don't deal with our relationship. Okay, and the easy way to do it is to go to Sinai. It's very close, it's very cheap. You don't need to go abroad. And the Bedouin never ask questions. All you do there is to swim. But then you go there and you find out that there are much more Jewish people than Arabs there. Okay, they love the place. And you go and ask, where are you going so I can go somewhere else? We just want, you know why, what's the problem? And I thought about it a lot because we have friends and we work together. Where is the problem? The Hebrew. Jewish don't speak Arabic. Jews don't speak Arabic. And every time we need to talk, we need to speak in Hebrew. And the only way not to do it is not to talk with Arabs. Automatically, in anywhere we go, no matter how, if it's 50-50, the Jewish 50 doesn't speak Arabic. ما بيحكوا عربي. And I've been teaching them Arabic for 20 years. 20 سنة أنا بعلم عربي. And yet, most of my friends. Oh, sorry. Siri, I don't know why she's reacting. She doesn't like what I'm saying, maybe. Sorry. So yes, it's complicated. And then maybe we should see the trailer and then tell me what you saw and what you noticed and what kind of questions you have. I will share the screen and I'll show you the trailer of both Paradise and Nafas.
شو الإنسان بحاجة عشان يمرق هاي الحياة؟ حب، شوية مصاري، حلم. بس الأهم شو الثمن اللي مستعدين تدفعوه عشان هذا الحلم؟
احنا 3 فاكينج فلسطينيين بنص بلد بيضاء عنصرية غالية الحرب على البوابة. اختار الحرب هاي خلوش الواحد يرسم له السلوك. قيس، وكيل، صالح، تخيل هذول الستودنت اللي حتى كانوا ماشيين مع القواعد الممتازة. هاي فرصة كل مصاري وبسرعة. 50 شيء لكل واحد فيهم. ما في تراجع، عيوني عليك.
احنا كثير مثل اللي بيحلموا بالحرية يكونوا من هنا بكل هذا الشرق الأوسط المعفن. وأنا رحت بعيد بهاي الرحلة، يمكن أكثر من اللازم. كان بعملته وخرقت شوي. فجأة بلاقي حالي بفيلم باشا.
Okay. Who didn't saw the movie? It's about one woman, two boys. They live in Tel Aviv. They are students and they are dreaming. They know they cannot fit in. It's very difficult. They watch the news about what's going on in Gaza all the time. They feel very Palestinian. That's all. This is what is. This is the only thing that I could hear about being Palestinian. And they choose to live a different life. So they lie to their families about what's going on in their lives. And they don't go back every week. They don't have money and they need to do something about it. As I told you earlier, no matter how far away you go, you always come back. About 90% of the Arab students, they come back every weekend. They go to study 5 days to university every week and they come back. They give them food, they wash their clothes, their families, and they give them money. And they also control their lives that way. This is the way it works. It's about 90%. Most of the people that I know, they don't work. They go to university to study, not to work. It's difficult to study in Hebrew after high school because until high school, everything is in Arabic. كل إشي بالعربي. Now, when they choose to live different life, they actually are not in touch with their families, so they don't have the money and the food, and they are lost in Tel Aviv. That's why they start dealing with drugs. This is the first movie, and now I'll show you the trailer for the next movie, the second one, which is Paradise. I really think that Sinai is paradise, by the way. Here.
Goed. Nog jaar?
לא. קצת חופרים החבר'ה.
קצת. כל הזמן בחוף בורחים. בסדר בס? לא, לא. אני אתחיל לדמיין דש יהודי פה בריצה מהרוב הזאת.
תחזיקי זה רגע.
בסדר.
זה הבדואים שורפים זול של תהרון. תגידי. קצת שני משם, האיראנים יכולים לעשות. לשחייה. עם שנורקלים.
אני לא תמיד ככה, באמת, סתם זה...
בסדר. לא אני לא תמיד ככה, רק פה אני צריך לדעת. אם נשבר לך הלב לאחרונה, הוא בכלל מומלץ.
מאיפה אתה בא אלינו?
ואלו. ברלין.
וואלה. אוקיי, ומה אתה עושה שם?
צד נאצי.
וואלה.
אלי, אתה סוגר לנו מניין עם הכלובה, כן? אלי!
סבבה.
Okay. This is Ali, who became Eli, and it was easier to say, he needed a drive actually, and he decided that if he said Ali, and he's totally right, they will take him. It happens to me once. I wanted to go to Haifa. I used to be a student, and there was a problem with the bus, and a police car stopped there in right here in Pardas Khanna, and they said to us, we were two girls waiting. They said, come, it's dangerous, a lot of Arabs around. And I entered the car, they took us to Haifa, and I was sitting behind and holding my bag, which is a huge bag, you know, food and clothes and everything. And I was just afraid that maybe my mother will call me, and if she does, I will not answer. Because if I will say any word in Arabic, they will have a heart attack. Just looking at me sitting with a huge bag, shante kbire. So yes, he decided to become Eli, and I actually could easily pretend to be a Jewish. Even my name is Mai, it works, and I don't look like, and my Hebrew used to be excellent still, I believe. And instead of Ra, you should say Ra, instead of A, you should say A, and it works, okay? Yes, and it happens again and again, here and there. When I needed to rent a house for 1 month in Haifa, and I was very stressful because I needed that day, something went wrong, and a very Jewish rabbi offered a house for a month. And I had the money, and I went there, and I didn't say that I'm from Jet or an Arab, but then when I signed the contract, he asked to see my ID, and I show him my ID. I was so afraid he will tell me to go out. He didn't. He said nothing about me being an Arab. I paid in advance for 1 month. Everything was fine. I didn't even discuss the money. He said, 3,000, take it. Just give me the house. And I wish I had the courage that I have today to ask him, how do you feel about it? Do you understand? Is it fine? When I took a sublet in Haifa 2 years ago, for the Haifa Film Festival, I always live there for 2 weeks in Shavuot, and I watch movies. So I took sublet, and it was a Jewish family who wanted someone to take care of their dog. And we Muslim, we're afraid of dogs. We hate dogs. I can say a lot of things about dogs. None of them is good. Not me in personal. I don't care. I like dogs, but Muslims, Kelev Utame, like Jewish, like religion, Jewish people, exactly. And I went there, I took their house. I said nothing about being an Arab. And I think they knew eventually. We don't lie, we just don't say it, because when we say it, we put it on the table, and you don't know what will happen. Usually it doesn't work well. The best way to keep your friends and to keep your relationship is not talking about it. And we know how to do it very well. Only after having a very good relationship with someone, you can talk about this very sensitive things. Okay. So now let me check if you have any questions. So I'll stop talking about my own experience. Yes, he is famous from Fawda. Yes, the actress is from Fawda. They are not talking to me. 2,000 Meters is an amazing movie. I also think so. Watch it.
Maybe we want to ask if anybody wants to unmute themselves and just ask questions, because I think most of the chat is not questions.
It's not about me. It's not questions. Fine, really. So what did you, Sula? Unmute yourself. You don't know how to unmute? No, it's not working?
Now it is.
It is. Hello, كيف حالك؟
والله مبسوطة، شكرا. تمام.
تمام، انت من وين؟ We're from?
أنا من فلوريدا.
من فلوريدا وبتحكي عربي ليش؟ why؟
أنا سكنت في القدس من زمان زمان زمان.
اوكي من زمان من زمان. Continue in Arabic. أنا سكنت في القدس. She speak classical Arabic. Okay.
أنا سكنت في القدس
because of the verb. And
how do I say 1972? 1970. No, I can't.
1970. You say in Hebrew you said zaman. You said mizman. In Arabic, min zaman. Min zaman means long time ago. Min zaman. So what do you think about the movie or about the things you've heard so far? Do you have any سؤال? سؤال is a question.
لا سؤال لا مش سؤال بس أنا بحب دايما to hear Arabic. I could just listen all day. والله. But I missed the festival. I couldn't do the movies. Just tonight I'm going to be able to see a movie. So I didn't see anything. I saw In Between last year or 2 years ago. I can't remember. I love the festival. I'm really sorry it didn't work for me this year. But I think your class is great. I took it last year. It's the highlight of my November. بس شو بتساوي؟ ما فيش زمان ما فيش مازال. How do you say luck?
Wait, شوي. أنت بتحكي فصحى عند عامية, which is beautiful. فصحى, the classical Arabic, and عامية, the spoken. And most of you, you're talking right now the spoken language, which is great, ممتاز. Only the word, the verb, I lived, سكنت, say it in the Arabic classical. Okay, مش yes.
How do you say it on street level?
We use the can, which is I was, can. And أنا كنت ساكنة. أنا ساكنة في جت. I live in جت. أنا ساكنة في جت. So if I want to say I lived, أنا كنت ساكنة. In Hebrew, hayiti gara. كنت ساكنة. And you did it in a very sophisticated way. You say second to, like from the book.
What the book?
Good for you, Sola. شكرا إلك.
ولا
روكسانا تفضلي.
Hi, I'm sorry. My Arabic is almost non-existent. But I'm a language professor and I just love languages and I just feel so empowered with something you said, and I wanted to ask you about that because I am from Argentina. I lived in Israel, but I live in America, and I do have that issue about identity too, because I'm Jewish, but I'm Latin, and I don't know. I live in Israel, and I didn't feel like I'm Hispanic, I'm Latin, I don't know who I am. But you mentioned something, and I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the issue of identity, especially when you travel abroad, but you mentioned that the choices are, am I Israeli, am I Arab, or am I Palestinian? But you didn't say Muslim. Or, so is that your concern? Like if you can say Arab could be Muslim or Christian. So when people, and how do you resolve? What is your resolution when people ask you where you are from? What's your identity? So how do you, what do you do about that? And I want to hear the whole story about your identity.
Okay, روكسانا. بالعربي ولا بالإنجليزي؟
شوي.
بالعربي بس but شوي. بالعربي بس شوي. No, I'll mix like always. So I didn't say I'm Muslim because it's like saying I'm a woman. It's very obvious. It's easy. Okay. And I don't want to talk about the easy things. We are majority. It's very obvious we're Muslims. Immi Medayni, my mother is religious. And you can notice immediately if you know me or you know my family, my mother and all of my aunties and all of the people around me are religious, a lot of covered, okay? But they don't care. They know I'm not, and it's fine. Usually people who live in conservative religious societies leave if they are too modern. You won't be able to wear what you want to wear or to do what you want to do, and it's easier to leave. I choose to stay, and I have a deal with my family. Consider yourself as if you rent the house, we have 2 houses, to a Jewish woman. Could you do that? And they said yes. So I live here, and they consider me a Jewish stranger, okay? Now it's important, I said it in purpose because I knew that they will see me wearing things or leaving and I'm not coming back at night or coming back very late. It's very not acceptable. And every minute I say to them, it's too much for you, I leave. Now, they are very smart, you are parents. You know what, let her do whatever she wants to do, but she lives here. They don't want to imagine me living in Tel Aviv or Haifa, not coming back, because they know I will not come back on weekends. I want to have a good time on weekend. I work from Sunday until Thursday. I mean, it's really tricky. Now, أنا عربية. I always knew أنا عربية. I speak Arabic. أنا بحكي عربي. I live in a village. We go to Arab schools, separated schools in Israel. Arabs go to Arab schools, Jews go to Jewish schools. And it's everywhere, but learning that I can say, actually, I'm Palestinian, and it happened 5 years ago when I started working in the Abraham initiatives, that I can say I'm Palestinian and I won't lose my job and no one will be angry. I realized that that's what I want to say. It feels good. You say something and you feel you are Palestinian. You do care. You understand how complicated it is, and you are willing to face it. You know, in real relationship, if you really want to work, I work for 20 years with Jewish. I teach Arabic. I go at school, and I'm a translator, and I have friends. And not being able to say I'm Palestinian, it's like being in a relationship and not being able to talk about few things. It will always stand between us. Now we know we need to do it in a very delicate way because it is problematic, and we have our backgrounds, what we think, what we feel. There is no easy way to explain. A lot of my friends say to me, go live in Berlin, for example, go live abroad. Things are different there. You will feel different. I never did it. I would like to stay here, close to the family and close to the sea. I love the weather here. Sinai is 4 hours from here. I go 3-4 times a year to Sinai. For me, watching the movie Paradise and watching Sinai, the 1-2 minutes I show you is actually the breathe. You can take a breeze there. The name of this movie should be Breathe. We go to breathe, really. There is no time, the Wi-Fi is not working. You're disconnected, and it's only 4 hours from here. 4 ساعات من هون. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jimmy, for writing that. My other question was going to be about learning here Arabic. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'd love, I mean, as I wrote, we'd love for folks to continue learning with us. We periodically do 3-day courses. And so if you're interested in that, I put our website in the chat. You can sign up for a newsletter or just shoot me an email directly. My email's in the chat. And then Maya will also be in the US in the spring. So we hope to see many of you then.
Where in the US?
We're all over. We're going to be in New York, Boston, San Francisco, probably also LA and Chicago, maybe DC. We'll see.
Sorry, Jimmy, but I think that because of Sula and I in Florida, you have to come to Florida, man.
I've been lobbying for Florida, so we shall see.
She will like the weather there.
No doubt. It's my birthday, you know, right after Pesach. So I told them already that if you want me to spend 2 weeks teaching Arabic, I'm going to be there 2 weeks before, and I'll be in Hawaii. Don't look for me. The whole Pesach. You know, one funny thing, one last thing. A lot of people, when you need to write on Facebook, where are you from? We choose not to write at all, or we write Honolulu. And we do it in a funny way because you want to choose a place where, you know, far away, Hawaii, not here, not about Arabs and Jews. It's too much to keep dealing with it all the time, especially Facebook opens us to the whole Arab world. And they are very interested into asking us, how do you live together? And I find out how I can answer in a very creative way. I said, it's a Catholic married. You can't divorce. Deal with it. Okay? So do you love each other? We feel the same about each other. We feel the same about you as you feel about us. There is no better way to say it. And you know what? We manage. We actually manage. But yet it doesn't mean it's easy. It's not. It isn't easy at all, especially when the government is doing nothing to make it easy. And only us as the Abraham Initiatives and other organizations are trying, you know, very hard to make things look different, to make it possible, even by watching movies, learning about each other. You know what? Why to watch a movie? I love movies, but it would be much easier if we could meet and talk about things. But it is difficult. Every time we try, we need to be very careful. We need to do it like, let's learn English together, because learning is important. It's an excuse, you know that. But the the Ministry of Education need this kind of excuses so they can support the program, so we can make them meet together and do something together. I would rather if they travel together. You know, if you're in a relationship with someone, anyone, a man and a woman, it's nice to learn something together. But if you really want to know him, travel somewhere. Even if he's your husband, you will find out things. Travel, okay? And I think that by traveling and having experiences, which isn't about learning things together, but doing things together, we will be in a situation where we can see things from different point of view.
Maya, Rachel wanted to ask a question. So let me see.
تفضلي.
There we go.
كنت في عمان في صيف 2010.
Yes, كنت في عمان في الصيف 2010. I went to Amman. I was in Amman at the summer of 2010.
درست في جامعة كولومبيا وهم في عمان.
Also في عمان. Also فصحى in Colombia and Amman.
درست الفصحى وكمان
عامية.
عامية.
I know when you say كمان, it's عامية. درست الفصحى. I learned or I studied فصحى, and then you said كمان, which is a spoken word. So both, I can understand. You did both. Bravo. كل الاحترام. Well done.
الفيلم نفاس سمعتوا كمان it refreshed it refreshed the Amia.
Yes. Yeah. Well, listen, أنا بفهم, I understand, but specifically these two movies, you won't hear a lot of Arabic. ما بتسمع عربي. They are about people who try to fit. They are about people who have a problem with their identity and they live as a minority in Tel Aviv or stay in Sinai with Jewish. And he is very interested to get to know this woman. So he pretends to be Eli. Okay, so you will hear Arabic, بس مش كفاية, not enough. مش كتير, not much. But it will show you a very interesting perspective about this kind of people. High nas, high student, and it is exist. It's there, but it's not the majority. الأغلبية, they live in Haifa, they live in Tel Aviv, they go to university every weekend, they're home, and they all know each other. So you can't run away. أنت ما بتهرب. They can watch you, they can see you. I will be it will be very interesting writing or doing a movie about that, about trying to breathe and at the same time showing how your culture is connected and running after you, surrounded you everywhere, even in Tel Aviv, حتى في تل أبيب. So, any last comment or question? Fish? Fish. There isn't. Fish. كل شيء تمام. Everything is fine. كل شيء تمام.
Thank you, Mai.
You're welcome. عفوا.
شكرا.
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 Hopefully كان حلو. شكرا لكم. And see you next time. المرة الجاية.
When is next time? Is it part of this film festival too next time?
Jimmy, لا. Jimmy will explain.
Yeah, we don't have another class scheduled now. It'll be in the new year. But shoot me an email or sign up for a newsletter and you'll be in the loop. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for participating. And Yitzi, thank you so much for the opportunity. We love being a part of the festival and we're so grateful for the work that you do to make it happen. Thank you all for being a part of it.
Thank you all. See you at the movies. Thank you, Mai.